Okay, so let's talk about choosing your flask size. Your respective flask size should be about the size of your piece with just enough room to go around the perimeter. So with these small star pieces, we could get a tighter flask, but generally what you'll find is they're just not present, okay? So what you want to do is make sure you have enough for a whole pencil to go around, but we don't have flasks more narrow than this that are the same height. So we've chosen this flask for its height, right? Now, interestingly enough, with the larger piece wax printed part, it would fit ideally in this shorter flask with a good fit around the diameter as well, but the problem is our points are very close to the top of the flask, and what we don't want to have is a blowout where when the broken arm part of the sling fulcrums and that velocity shoots out, these are going to act like little ice picks trying to break through. So if we're going to have any level of sprue tree separating the point of the star from the base, the problem is we run out of height with this larger flask. So what we need to do is step up to something taller, but there's nothing available that isn't significantly taller, so we're just taking the time to go with the slightly larger diameter that only goes up a small increment in height. And that will give us the extra room around the perimeter as well as the additional height that we need for the flask, okay? So here we are with Baby Bear, where we have everything we want in terms of height with the part within the flask, and then protection around the perimeter. These wings are the longest parts, and so when we look at that component, you just want to make sure that you have enough to run a pencil all the way around the perimeter without hitting your part, right? And the plaster protects and insulates your piece, as well as making sure there aren't any fractures or fissures formed from the plaster going up to 1200 or 1300 degrees in the kiln, as well as the initial shock of the molten metal shooting into the mold. Okay, so once we have our flasks picked out, we're ready to sprue up our parts and invest.